pursued the chase in a 1972 Ford XA Falcon 351 Victoria Police GTHO Phase IV powered supercar. The supercar crisis axed Ford Falcon GTHO Phase IV. Ford Motor Company states in writing for a Magistrates Court document presented in 1973 in a Victoria Police brief at Sunbury Magistrates Court in Victoria the facts in a letter from Ford Motor Company Broadmeadows of how many and where the GTHO engines went, in reference to a Ford Falcon 351 Victoria Police pursuit car. Attached statement as remembered. My name is Senior Constable Geoffrey Brown, 15,761, of No. 1 Division, Mobile Traffic Section located at 20 Dawson Street, Brunswick. On or about, for this only Sunday the 8th of April, 1973 I was performing my usual and permanent call to highway patrol duties between Melbourne and Taradale, which is my designated patrol area. I was rostered for duties between 0800 hours and 1600 hours and was patrolling alone in an unmarked, plain white 1972 XA model Ford Falcon GT, 4-speed manual gearbox, 4-door sedan, registered number LHH035 and was working in full mobile traffic police uniform. This vehicle is the permanent rostered vehicle for call to highway patrol duties. The vehicle is fitted with a siren under the bonnet and a portable magnetic flashing blue lamp that is activated when plugged into an under-dash fitted cigarette lighter type plug known as a breast plug. A concertina cord extends to the lamp which is attached to the roof of the vehicle by 3 large magnets fitted to the base of the lamp. From experience of previous use, this lamp is only good for speeds under 100 miles per hour and then depending on circumstances to be able to activate and locate on the vehicle roof. At about 1,400 hours I was driving in a southerly direction through the Gisborne township, and as you leave the town proper there is a winding uphill stretch of road which is duplicated for about 500 yards before merging into a single lane at the top of the hill where also the town 35 miles per hour speed limit ceases. The road is then an open highway limit of 70 miles per hour. There is then a series of gentle curves before predominantly straightening out with further up and downhill areas, all in single lane for both directions of travel toward the western side of Sunbury and then on toward Diggers Rest where there is a boom gate protected railway level crossing. When about a mile south of Gisborne I was travelling last in a line of approximately 8 cars at the 70 miles per hour speed limit when my attention was drawn ahead to a British racing green E type Jaguar coupe that had also been in the line of traffic and about 4 cars ahead of me, travelling in the same southerly direction which suddenly diverged with the right indicator to the incorrect side of the road and then accelerated rapidly overtaking 2 cars before merging back to the left because of oncoming traffic. The line of cars continued south and again the Jaguar diverged right and overtook several cars. I also took the opportunity and overtook 4 of the ahead cars. The Jaguar was now at the front of the previous group of 8 cars and rapidly accelerated away. As the opportunity arose, I also overtook the remaining cars ahead and by now the Jaguar was barely as we neared Aitken's Hill near the western side of Sunbury. I continued to accelerate and saw my speedometer was around the 120 miles per hour mark and I now had the Jaguar in sight about 500 yards ahead travelling at a similar speed to myself. As the Jaguar reached the rear of ahead traffic, which was quite light, the Jaguar overtook these cars mostly still travelling at the speed of around 120 miles per hour. I also performed similar overtaking manoeuvres in an effort to gain on the Jaguar. By now the Jaguar was entering Diggers Rest town area which has prominently displayed 35 miles per hour signs that comply with the road traffic regulations. The Jaguar slowed to about 70 miles per hour through this zone with no interference with any other traffic and by now I was about 200 yards behind. As I cleared Diggers Rest speed zone back to the open highway speed zone of 70 miles per hour, the road is quite straight and slightly downhill affording excellent forward visibility. I again realised the Jaguar was accelerating briskly still southward towards Melbourne and in this straight stretch of road the Jaguar overtook 3 further south travelling cars. These overtaking manoeuvres were quite safe given the light traffic circumstances and the correct use of indicators. Approximately 3 miles south of Diggers Rest the road has a reasonably gentle left curve before again straightening to pass the Calder Raceway. By the time I rounded the curve and straightened up I was travelling at 130 miles per hour, the limit denomination on my car's speedometer, and about 100 yards behind the Jaguar, but I was not gaining on the speeding Jaguar. I continued to accelerate as hard as the car could, and I reached for the police radio microphone and radioed to D24 of the vehicle's description and speed, as I was not close enough to read the registration number, but I could see it was a yellow colour, so I deduced a possible New South Wales car, to which D24 acknowledged and commenced to call assistance from other cars. I had passed the Calder Raceway on a straight roadway with good ahead visibility, and as I was now gaining on the speeding vehicle, I could see my speedometer needle was approximately 3/4 of an inch to an inch past the 130 miles per hour limit, and I was flashing my car's headlights and had the siren sounding. I stayed reasonably but safely behind the vehicle, but there was no response and the speed continued. My car then gained on the Jaguar, and I diverged to the incorrect side of the road beside the Jaguar, which I saw had a single male occupant, and sounded my car horn as well, to which I saw the driver, who looked in my direction and appeared shocked, then braked. I braked heavily and diverged back left, then at an appropriate speed onto the near side gravel verge. The Jaguar, with four-wheel disc brakes compared to my front-wheel only disc brakes and rear drum brakes, had stopped some 50 yards behind me. He drove up to me as I reversed back toward him. I alighted from my car as he did. The 40-year-old male driver's opening words to me were, "What the hell have you got under the bonnet of that thing?" To which I replied, "Why, what was your speedo showing?" He said, 148 miles per hour. I then informed D24 of the interception and to cancel assistance. I then had a detailed conversation with the New South Wales licensed male driver and put my observations to him, to which he said, "I'm sorry about that, but you are completely right. I certainly didn't expect any police about today." I informed the driver he would receive a summons to attend court in the future. The weather at the time was fine and sunny with excellent visibility, and the highway over the length of this incident has a very good bitumen surface. Traffic was light and no interference was caused to other traffic. As I was stationary talking to the offending driver, a civilian passing motorist's front seat passenger called out in my direction, "That's the best thing you have done today, catching that bloody idiot." In preparation of the brief in this matter, and on Monday the 9th of April, I attended at the Transport Branch, also located at 20 Dawson Street, Brunswick, the section responsible for buying, selling, fitting out, and recording all police vehicles. I obtained the chassis, engine and vehicle identification number of the Ford Falcon GT LHHO 35 I was driving the previous day. I later that day rang the Ford Motor Company Head Office Public Relations Division on Sydney Road, Campbellfield, and made an appointment to attend that office on the 16th of April. I attended on the day and spoke to a Ford executive. I recounted the circumstances above and the vehicle identification details to him and left my name and address at Dawson Street. He stated he would send me correspondence on the vehicle. Approximately 2 weeks later, I received the attached letter on the Ford Motor Company letterhead and signed by the same executive I had spoken to. The letter approximately stated, "The 1972 manufactured Ford XA 4-door sedan, now registered number LHH035, VIN number, chassis number and engine number, was manufactured to police specifications as a pursuit vehicle and was to be the usual Phase II motor specifications. As you are aware and as discussed, there has been federal government concern over the alleged vehicle engine performance between the Ford Motor Company and our manufacturing competitors. Ford has completed the process of building 40 Phase IV engines, primarily for competition vehicles, but due to this publicized concern has made the decision to discontinue with this Phase IV building program. Of those 40 engines, 3 have been placed into vehicles that have reached the public arena. The remaining 37 engines have been fitted to police pursuit vehicles and have circulated Australia-wide. The vehicle you are driving, LHH035, is one of those vehicles." I attached that original letter to the traffic brief of evidence that was forwarded to Sunbury Police Station for prosecuting at the Sunbury Magistrate. I read that letter out at court after giving my evidence. The letter was handed to the magistrate to also read, then returned to the prosecutor to be re-added to the brief, then eventually for filing at Dawson Street brief filing area for 7 years before destruction. The 3 offences listed were: 1. Travel at a dangerous speed. 2. Exceed 35 miles per hour in Diggers Rest. 3. Exceed 70 miles per hour.